Hello, and welcome back to Dissonant Waves. It's been a while. How's it going?
Season 6, baby.
Episode 188.
Yeah, we haven't recorded since today's the 10th of March. I think all of our time
Yes.
at the moment. Very
Wee
early
wee.
UK time, so apologies on that. I can't remember what the last time we recorded was, but it's definitely been a couple of months.
It was
It
sometime in
has.
December.
A lot has happened. It was.
I made episodes going through like the middle of January, so not that large of a break upload wise, but for us it's been longer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what have we done over the break. I think that's the the good period to kind of start this out on.
Yeah.
I've probably seen 50 gigs since then. I know I'm up to gig 46 for this year.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit,
Oh.
dude.
So
You'll outdo your
Probably
previous
actually.
record.
maybe
Yeah.
actually, yeah. I'm not going to go through every single one of them for the point of time. But yeah, there's been some classics in today. I got to finally see Basement recently, which is great. A band that I've listened to back in uni times. Back, I think I've seen Blind Girls twice. Oh yeah, the big one that I saw twice that YouTube would have frothed over as I saw Shannon and the Clams twice.
Oh wow, twice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. One as a headliner, and then one opening for Sierra Ferrell, which I saw that because I figured really cheap Tixel ticket. It's kind of funny with my hatred of country if I'm the one who saw her out of us three.
Did Shaky
almost-
Graves do
I
a
had
song
the
with her?
opportunity to see Shaky
Yeah, I
Graves.
think she did. I think she did do a song, but
Or
actually, no, I
was
had
that
the-
Sky
I had a-
Sierra? I never remember who it is.
no, I think it was Sierra Ferrell. I actually had a period of country there because I went Shannon and the Clams, which it's more psychedelic country, but it has that kind of vibe. Then Sierra Ferrell, then Band of Horses, which I actually do like Band of Horses. That one was a straight up full price ticket for me, and like, yeah, fuck, no one's gonna love you. Cry to it.
Hell yeah.
And then City and Color, which I know that's a bit borders on it because it's kind of more indie rock and the whole Alexa Fire connection with Dallas Green. But the opener, the support, I guess, Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats, that was definitely fucking country. Saw Ammo and the Sniffers, that was a highlight. I saw a band called The Double, which was Emmett Kelly and Jem White, and that was them just playing the same two notes for 40 minutes.
Hell yeah.
You start hearing shit because you're just not quite sure what you're listening to anymore.
Now you know why I like Bass Communion.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's quite the same, but we'll allow it.
and I've now seen Armlock 5 times.
Hell yeah.
I don't think anything else important to me happened over that period.
You know, I was unlucky in love, more or less, so I didn't really have that much going on in the end. But I sure tried.
I've had some good shit happen to me. First off, I got the first and the last weekly special at the restaurant I work at, which then caused the leadership to be like, "Oh shit, we got something with her," and they started training me in fine dining. So now I am slinging $40 plates of steaks, and I'm being considered as one of the main cooks for the new concept that the restaurant I work at is turning into. That will be like the most hipster wet dream food place you've ever seen. Like, we're doing molecular gastronomy, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I did treat myself tonight. I made a nice rarer to like medium rare steak.
Well, actually, Dominic, you did mention love, and there is something I guess I should mention is that my friend got reposted by Joey Valence and Bray for his fuck up date story where he got unmatched to saying Joey Valence's and Bray's No Hands album was his favorite album in 2024.
Yeah, I was really trying to tee you up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great story. But he actually came down for the JVB show. He's got a couple good dating stories, which I'm not going to embarrass him over into this because that's not.
I'll tell an embarrassing date story here in a sec.
Oh no, I'll let him if he ever comes on here happily tell his embarrassing date stories. But He ended up at Sydney after the week saying he was done with Sydney girls. So that was a great week.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned an embarrassing date story, and this one actually has happened to me this weekend. I was planning on going on a date on Tuesday with this girl, and she committed herself to a mental hospital, so I guess the date's canceled.
That
Seems like she just named a location.
Yeah, but it's just funny to me because it's like a George Costanza bit almost.
that would be a weird episode of Seinfeld, but I could see it.
Oh yeah, I can see it too.
Of course, you can see it.
I usually have a lot of like weird and bad date stories. Ironically, until it ended up not happening. The dates I was on recently were like the most chillest, like regular, like non-story stories. So it was like a nice little like, oh, this isn't embarrassing. This isn't like weird for once.
I had a friend tell this is a different friend, not embarrassing, the same person. I tell a good date story where they were at Crowbar on a date having food, and someone that they knew, weren't really friends with but knew, he came up and said hello, and he thought it was like, okay, she's just gonna say hello and then walk off, but apparently then just kept trauma dumping onto him for like the next 20 minutes during the date.
Oh god.
I think he explained it as she didn't call back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reaching back now. I guess I could tell a one where I was on a date with a guy I wasn't really attracted to, but he was sure into me. And so we went to like a mall, and the mall was like an hour away from where I lived, so I wasn't really familiar with it. So I got there late.
Took him to a supermarket. I don't know why, but I had to start it somewhere.
And
just had to pulp that.
So I was like 20 minutes late because I didn't know where this mall was. And by the time I get there, he had already spent all his money at the Disney store.
Oh god, no.
He bought an Ursula doll.
Oh my god.
Then we walked around the mall.
Oh.
He telling me all about how much of a Disney nerd he is, and that was not a great time, but still trying to make it work. And then we kept having this thing where we'd have to like, oh, let's go put the doll in my car, let's go do this, and every time we would do something like that, he'd try to escalate things. Let's hold hands, let's hug, let's kiss, and that got weird.
Yeah.
And the whole time he was trying to like, he wanted to watch a movie. And I'm usually down to watch a movie, but I was movied out that day. There was like a theater in the mall, because malls had theaters for a while there. That was a weird time.
Oh, my local mall has a theater. I saw Sonic 3 there.
And I was like, I don't really want to see a movie, I'm just not feeling it. And he just wouldn't let it go. Strangely enough, even though, he tried to kiss me and everything, I still went back to his house and met his mom and everything. And then he showed me his room full of like Peter Pan shit.
Oh my god.
And then he took me down to the basement and he put on what's that movie? Fucking Moulin Rouge. And he's
strong contender for one of the worst movies to play on a first date.
Now, Dominic, I just want to let you know before you go further, if some alt-right fuckwit listens to this podcast, they are going to use your date story as an anti-gay propaganda. Putting that out there.
What is so anti-gay propaganda about it? I'm saying this was a bad date.
Yeah, I know, that's the point. This is terrible. This is really bad.
Bad dates happen to anybody and everybody. I don't know, man. But
yes, no, don't get me wrong. This isn't me personally saying that this is anti-gay shit. But damn well someone will always nitpick it.
Sure, fuck them.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Demi, dude. Do you remember what was playing that day in the theater?
No. This was probably like 2015.
I thought for sure this was going to end with you going to see a Disney film.
No. So we're in the basement.
It's not where I expected this to go.
I'm on the couch. It's like a futon. He's putting in Moulin Rouge, and I'm like, I really don't want to watch a movie. I kind of want to just tell this guy that this is not working out. This is not happening. And like, he's sitting down on the couch. The lights are low. I know what he wants, but I'm just like, I'm like cradling his dog and like paying attention all to his dog so that he leaves me alone. And then after a few minutes, I'm like, hey, let's go take a walk. And so we walk around like the subdivision that he lives in for like an hour. As I'm like, hey, this isn't working out. And then he tells me about all the other dates he has planned, and that's really fine, it's really okay. And then just drops like other just insane shit of like, my parents are really racist, yada yada yada.
Oh god.
Okay, maybe the alt-right won't use this one.
Yeah, nah, you've saved it.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, yeah, I'm just glad you're white. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Dominic dates a white nationalist.
Yeah.
White nationalist Disney adult. I'm sure they exist.
I don't know.
I
don't
think
know
that's
who's
a
gonna
good
pick up the story
25%
now.
of their demographic.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of had to find my way home after that, and I was glad to do so. Because that was a bad time.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have an episode here to talk about. The
I
theme
forgot
this
about that.
episode, as we come back finally after a few months away, 3 big bands we haven't touched yet.
Yes.
That we're kind of surprised that we never have.
I mean, my choice, Nirvana's Bleach, their first album. We've done Foo Fighters, that's kind of close. Even
I was
though
gonna pick Unplugged for a minute.
even though Dave Grohl was not on this album, it's adjacent.
Yeah.
Trix, you chose Gaucho by Steely Dan.
I did.
And Ritz, you gave us an option, and we ended up to go with High Violet by The National instead of Boxer.
Because you chose to not download another album.
They chose not to download another album?
'Cause you
Oh,
already
right,
had High
'cause-
Violet. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't have the CD in my collection after all, but like I very much remember this CD, and I owned it at one point because the casing for High Violet was like bigger than normal, and so it wouldn't fit on the shelf on like the bins of the store I used to work at. So we'd always have to put it like on the rack above with all the live DVDs. Just one of those things. But what do you want to talk about first?
That's a good question.
I mean, we're already kind of talking about it. Should we start off with the National?
Sure.
Cool. National High Violet. This was a 2010 album. I'd like to think.
Yes.
Could be wrong with that date, but yeah, cool. 2010. Probably like the 4th or something album in the National's discography, as well as a bunch of EPs and live stuff that they had. In fact, I'll go through the collection that I have personally of music on my computer. It's not going to be their full collection, but it would be, let's see, The National was the subtitle.
Hi, Manny.
The Dirty Lovers, and Alligator, Boxer. High Violet would have been, I think, their 5th album, actually. And then they would have had the Virginia EP and the Cherry Tree EP, and probably a bunch of other live stuff in there as well. The point I'm trying to put out is that they had been around for a while. This is not a new band or anything at this point.
Yeah.
But their big breakout was Boxer. Now, yeah, they had some success with the other stuff beforehand, but Boxer was what really kind of pushed them into that critical and commercial success. And this is the album after it where they finally get kind of all the backing to put out a much more highly produced album. And not to say that the past albums and past work hadn't been well produced or highly produced, but this, if you have listened to Boxer and then going into this, you can tell there's a lot more going into this.
Yeah. They got Sufjan Stevens on this album for a minute.
Yes. Yeah, he does just a bunch of hums, basically, during Afraid of Everyone, and then is off of this.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because England always reminds me of the beginning of Illinois.
That's basically the intro to this album. As a personal kind of note on this, I do believe that Blood Bows Ohio is one of the greatest songs ever written. I will die on that hill.
Interesting.
A good one.
all of these albums grew on me quite a bit because, you know, I listened to them over a couple months. And I feel like if this was like a regular episode, I probably would not have as much to say because I remember the first time listening to this, it just was like, it was not the mood. It was not the time. But like,
I don't think I ever found the mood or the time for this album.
It's very much that like, it's not like directly that 2010s like folky Lumineers thing, but it's like kind of going in that direction sometimes. In a weird way. Like it just screams early 2010s to me. And not a terrible way.
Yes.
But it's definitely that thing.
And I think a big thing to also remember about the National since this album is that they've all gone on to basically work with like the most mainstream singers, songwriters, or production crew out there. Aaron Dessner obviously has produced quite a lot for Taylor Swift. Pretty sure Matt Berninger's even featured on some of those songs.
Yes, I mean, he's...
Nevin Turn had artists like Phoebe Bridgers and stuff feature on their last album, or Bon Iver, I know, was also on there. Their sound, or the kind of work that they do, has been around a lot more since the release of this album. So I feel like, in some sense, if you weren't international earlier, then maybe this doesn't kind of feel as groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Not to say that this is the most groundbreaking album when it came out.
No, but it was certainly a big deal.
It was, and it was certainly still quite a distinct sound.
Number 3 on the Billboard charts, 29 on the ARIA charts. So it was getting its flowers for sure. But Trix, doesn't sound like you vibe with it.
I listened to it a bunch, and I just couldn't find the time for it because like I work in a pretty high stress environment. It's safe to say I can't really. This isn't really the album I could listen to at work. Yeah, I'm gonna be in a rush listening to Sufjan Stevens hum. Well, no, I'm gonna throw on something with a beat, something with some balls to it. Like give me a riff.
I'm a negative creep.
I Am the Intimidator is still on my rotation for the kitchen.
I'll put it this way, and this is why I can see how Trix has gotten her point of view. And I don't think many people probably actually consider this when they think about this album, or when they think about the term. But I think this is an album for the audiophile. I think this is
I could see that.
Hear a lot goes on in the background. Matt Berninger's vocals. I mean, we've talked in the past 5 years about oversinging. He does not oversing a single fucking thing on this album.
No,
he is in that low register the whole time. At some points, he tries to.
He has quite a
strain
nice
voice. He strains it ever so slightly at times, but not really anything you would consider to say the big moment of the song is Matt Berninger's vocals, and quite soothing, quite lovely. But that's the thing. The moments that really hit on this album is the backing instrumentation. It's when you find those little pieces of the production that make it interesting or make it flow with everything. I mean, Blood Buzz Ohio has... You have Matt Berninger's very soft vocals going the whole time. Even as the instrumentation is picking up, the drums are going absolutely fucking crazy. And yet, it doesn't feel like he even goes louder.
And it
stays the same.
There's a lot of like little touches, just like the way he sounds sometimes, like just like the production surrounding his voice. It's a quieter album. It's like a cozy campfire album a lot of the time.
Yeah, I feel like if you showed this album to me like when I was fresh in college, fresh out of high school, I would have really loved it. But I don't know.
It's interesting to me in the sense that it reminds me of like that like folky trend, but like it's not folk really. It just shares vibes. Like if you
without a doubt, it's an alternative rock album.
If you put that fucking like hey kind of like shit you hear now all the time, it wouldn't really work in this album.
No.
But like I don't know. It's I feel like I'm like spending a lot of time on this, but only because it's a unique style that reminds me of other things, but I kind of would like to hear other things that kind of sound like this.
Yes.
And so there's a warmness to it that is otherworldly at times, and I think makes each song, the more you listen to it, there's like little things you catch that stand out.
And yeah, and that's why I
get
say
you,
this is an album for the audiophile, but I don't think it's ever really properly been considered as such. And nor do you need to listen to it in the highest quality to fully appreciate it.
I mean, I'm sure there was a bunch of CDs out there for $1.99 you could probably get.
I mean, I've got the CD and the expanded vinyl. I do generally love this album. Now, it's not a 10 out of 10 for me. I feel at some points you get a little bit of drag. It is made up for by some interesting production, right? But songs like Little Faith, I've never been huge into. Like, I appreciate what's going on with the song, but I feel like it doesn't evolve as much as it can.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then the songs that come after it kind of take over for it anyway.
Oh yeah, any album that has songs like "Afraid of Everyone" to "Blood Buzz" Ohio back to back, you've made a good album.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lemon World as well.
Yeah, Lemon World's actually really, really kind of soothing track after the. It feels weird about Blood Buzz Ohio. I know I'm going to talk a lot about that song, but as I said, it's one of the best songs of all time, and I'm going to die on that fucking. It's so crazy just how chaotic that song is, and it just doesn't feel it until you actually kind of like break it down.
Yeah, I get that.
And then yeah, Lemon World is a lot more structured and casual of the song, but it kind of just flows well. Like it's a good album, start to finish, and I it's one of those ones that like I rate it highly every time I listen to it, but I kind of forget about it for like a long time. And I go back and I listen to it and I go like, oh yeah, this is a fantastic album. There's a lot of good shit off this. But
yeah, I get that. This reads like an album that in a year I'll be like, oh fuck, you know what album I haven't listened to in a long time? It's like really fucking good. Hi Violet.
It's not the first album you notice in someone's vinyl collection. It's like the 6th one you notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also the sign of like, oh, this person kind of has good taste, actually.
I mean, High Violet's always been in that kind of sense of like it's. I don't think it stood the test of time in the case of people going back to it and saying everybody listen to High Violet, everybody listen to High Violet, everybody listen. But it's definitely not been forgotten. I mean, the National has picked up a lot of fans thanks to their production credits on artists like Taylor Swift.
But I think that stuff is so big now that it supplants everything.
Well, I remember Record Store Day. People were lining up like crazy because they wanted to get the Taylor Swift vinyl. And yet there was still like, even though that sold out very fucking quickly, shocker for me, I'm not going to actually make any anti-Taylor Swift comments today. I'm talking about a pro one for once, and that's for the fans of it. And that's the case of like, yeah, I remember just seeing like probably this like 14-year-old girl who lined up too late, didn't get the Taylor Swift one, so she instead decided to pick up as a vinyl was Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers. Like that's an album that came out before she was even fucking born.
Wow.
Yeah. Impressive.
And, it's not like no one does that. I mean, I've got the My Bloody Valentine. That would have come out before I was. But
like me buying Bleach.
A lot of my music collection came out before I was born.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not even the big national album in a sense. It's before their breakout. In a sense, it's kind of a deep cut of an album. In a sense, but that's the kind of thing. You got a lot of new fans going into the national, which is what stopped albums like this being stuck in the tens.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if I'm too keen on going full into the national at any point over this podcast. Because whilst I do think they have a full, a good discography, I don't think there's that much to talk about outside of that big period of Boxer to Trouble Will Find Me. The rest of the albums, I find, they got some great moments, but as a full album, yeah, it's not going to bring too much in.
I think they're good to acknowledge.
Yeah. that's the moment here, and that's why I'm kind of wrapping it up whilst we have it here, because I don't expect, if we do go back to stuff like Boxer, I never planned on picking Trouble Will Find Me, because I actually find that album holds up the least out of the big three.
Gotcha.
For a lot of people, it's going to be a shocker, because that's considered their best album by a lot of people, or at least was back in the day. And there are good songs off it. I like Graceless. I like I Should Live in Salt. I like Demons. I think I Need My Girl doesn't hold up as well, because it's just so slow paced and just it's okay. Songs like Hard to Find or Slipped. So yeah, the album gets really boring in the second half, and that's gotta hurt a lot of people, but I don't fucking care. Fuck it, I'll say it. Fantano was right on the score.
Was that a controversial one, I'm guessing?
It was a very controversial one. He gave it like a 3 or something. I need to check that. I don't think it's that bad, but he did not like Trouble Will Find Me. If I can get the fucking review up. What did he give it? We can't see the dislikes, but it definitely wasn't much. He gave it a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I would give it a 5.
But
That's how
what would you
I
give
feel
this
after
one?
all this time. This strong 9.
What would you give High Violet? Oh,
Yeah,
Strong
that's what I
9, you said?
Yeah.
I heard Strong Man, so I was like, oh, okay.
You are a stronger man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the same with Boxer. I think that's why I had this split between, okay, which one do you want me to pick, Boxer or High Violet? Because I think Boxer, conceptually, is a better album than High Violet, but the execution's done better on High Violet because they've had that production budget.
And if you give me the option, I'm always going to pick the one that I have a little story attached to, whether it's an important one or not.
And that's valid.
Yeah.
Boxer is worth listening to, probably in your own time. I don't think there's any reason for me to really bring it up, because it's kind of the same shit as High Violet. I mean, to a sense, you don't have as much production, and it is a sound difference, but we're not really going to have much else to talk about when it comes. So
Maybe
the national.
Maybe another theme episode at some point will necessitate it being brought up again. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think if we did go deep into the national, we'd be there for a while. But it does have the thing that Dominic likes. There is a lot of demo EPs and songs out there with B-sides and live editions and all that, and we can go crazy into that. I'm pretty sure there's probably a remix album out there or some shit. But
we're gonna do that with a band this year. I know for sure.
So why haven't I brought them up before? No real reason. I do like them. They have been talked about a lot by the indie community back in the day, so I didn't really think we'd be bringing too much into it anyway. Not that's really stopped us before. More so, it's just been I've picked up things other than this. High Violet / Boxer. It was either going to be either or of those, but I think as we come into this time, I've kind of decided it's really kind of a one and done for me in my plans. You're all right. Maybe we will come back to this at a certain point. If we do, it'll probably be Boxer. Maybe they'll put out a new album that actually does wow me, and I go, oh yes, we do need to listen to this. Find that out the hard way.
Not as into their recent albums.
Not in full. There are moments of them that I still do appreciate, but I think it's full. They're starting to show their age when it comes to their creativity, in my opinion.
And they're too focused on being successful in other avenues at this point, probably.
I wouldn't exactly say it like that, but there is a sense of that. Although, on I Am Easy to Find, it does have their best slow song with Light Years, which is just Matt Berninger on a piano, basically. And that's a really fucking beautiful track.
Okay.
And that's better than I Need My Girl, so I'm putting that fucking out there for everyone to fight me on. Although, comparing it to the actual High Violet, favorite songs off this, Terrible Love, the opener, I think really sets the stage for what you're going to hear on this album. In that sense, it makes it a really good opener. With that being said, Afraid of Everyone and Blood Buzzer Higher are the best tracks of this album. It is just an incredible 2-song period that happens there, which is, continued on with a pretty good ending to this album. I do like the very simple ending in Vandalile, Crybaby Geek Switch. does probably have
I
the
quite
most...
like. I quite like Vanderlei Cryberry
Yeah,
Geeks.
that probably
Yes.
has Matt's like most I guess distinct singing off this, or if there's going to be any point that he said, oh, he's tried to oversing or anything like that compared to everything, it's Vanderlei. But even then,
Yeah.
he doesn't go that far.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Least favorite's probably Little Faith, even though I do appreciate what they're going for, and that's...
I would agree with all your selections or favorites. I also like Lemon World. Anyone's Ghost is fun too. My least favorite.
Yeah, I do like... I should mention as well, Anyone's Ghost and Blood Buzz Ohio were the two songs to make the hottest 100 off this album.
My least favorite's probably something like Conversation 16 or England, even though England does remind me of a Sufjan Stevens song.
I feel like all of you have named my favorites already, and I really don't have a least favorite. It's a all right album. It's inoffensive, I guess would be a good way to describe it. But I need to come back to this in a year and see where I'm thinking.
I think inoffensive is a very simplistic term, and it goes like, is it offensive in which like it's challenging? And it depends what you describe as challenging. Like, this won't make you really think about what music is or any politics or anything of that nature. But inoffensive also kind of makes it feel like it's a bland, and I can't live with that as an answer. Just
I don't think it's bland, but it's not harsh on the ears, is what I'm trying to get across. It's a good listen,
which is true. Despite its chaotic nature, this is a soft album, but just because it's soft doesn't mean it's bland.
Yeah,
I think that's the way of describing it.
Yeah.
It seems like a nice autumny album.
Yeah. This would have killed if you brought it out in October.
Give me some like flannel. Let's go back to like 2011.
Flannel and pumpkin spice.
Ooh.
Anyway, Trix, we're going on to Steely Dan now.
Okay. I listened to a lot of Steely Dan growing up, believe it or not. My father loves the Dan, so I'm very familiar with all of their work. And it's only something I recently realized. I've been going on a Steely Dan deep dive, and I'm like, I know all this shit. So, yeah. Before I did the Steely Dan deep dive, I asked my friend who was really into Steely Dan what his favorite Steely Dan album was, because we're going to cover it. He said Gaucho. And now, not next week, but the week after, we're doing another Steely Dan album. Just a heads up.
Yeah.
Because
this is known as the Shaky Graves curse, but we'll let you finish.
I have extremely good reason to. I was going to tack it on, but we're going to cover the album that came out before Gaucho, and that is Asia.
Which is kind of famous in its own right, is it not?
Yes, it is. And the big reason I want to cover it is because within the community of Steely Dan fans, there's a huge argument of which is better, Gaucho or Asia.
I mean,
well,
sure.
My first take here, Trix. This is how you felt about the National, but
you want to know something strange about this album? I listened to it in the kitchen. This works as kitchen music.
This is another one that given the time that I needed to, the couple months that we had, I got into this more and more. But on first glance, it was kind of like whatever. But there is layers and depth to this album that I was not quite expecting, because like the National, it's kind of a easy sounding album. It's kind of just like classy.
Oh yeah, knowing the
Steely Dan. Go ahead, Ritz.
Yeah, knowing the Steely Dan I did, which is not much. It's Put a Starver and Do It Again. Oh, and Reeling in the Years, so I forget that too. Yeah.
And Ricky Don't Lose That Number.
Yep.
Don't know it by name.
Lose that number.
I probably heard it, but I don't know it by name. Anyway, going on with it. Yeah, I guess I was expecting. Well, I don't know what I was expecting, because when we go back to those songs, like, yeah, they're actually incredibly easy listening. But a Star was probably the hardest song out of all of them, and by hardest I just mean hardest than Guitar Hero. that's where I know these songs from. Call me a poser if you want. I've never been a big Steely Dan fan. My mom has. She probably knows a lot more than I do in this sense, but regardless of that, I don't know what I was expecting. And for some reason, I was expecting this to be, I guess, compared to like Blue Oyster Cult, where their hits just kind of sound a lot more easygoing than the actual albums do.
Yeah, I get that.
My
And I was
father,
wrong.
my father has always been a huge classic rock fan, and he's never really talked about Steely Dan much. So I'm going to assume that he's not huge on them.
He's not big on the Dan.
I would assume not. But I bet it's one of those things where he knows some of the songs, could probably call them out if he heard them. But I doubt if like I would be surprised if he knew like Babylon Sisters.
Honestly, I really think at some point we should try and get our dads to hang out.
I mean, we could. The two of them might work out. The other one, there's just travel expenses.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for them.
I was talking more along. I forgot about Ritz's dad, but I was just thinking more along the line of Domino and my father, Domino's father and my father, because you've mentioned your father's music taste in the past before, and I think they'd get along with like just in general.
Perhaps. I mean, I'm sure my dad could use more friends at this point in life. So
set him up on a Zoom call.
I don't know if he'd know what to do exactly, but sure. Oh, that was another story about this time off. I was house sitting for him for a little bit there. That was a weird time.
Yeah.
Just living in his townhouse. Just the dog and me and nothing else.
Yeah.
It was kind of calm and peaceful, you know?
I get you. Speaking of calm and peaceful, this album is like the album you put on when you're gonna go have a barbecue and drink 8 to 12 domestic light beers in the sun.
So, yes. I have a question, though.
Yes.
Time Out of Mind. Am I wrong to get kind of like an Earth, Wind, and Fire vibe out of it?
No.
I feel like that's like the one song that kind of gets us closer to like, because the Dan seems to be a bit of an island of its own in some ways.
Yeah.
But Time Out of Mind seems to be like the song that
rock band.
It's the one song that kind of gets us onto like, oh yeah, this could pair well with September or something.
Yeah. That's the thing with Steely Dan is that Fagan was like super into jazz, and so he was always trying to push the envelope in terms of rock music.
Now, I'm surprised we've not brought up like the story of Steely Dan at all yet, because
we can.
I mean, the formation of Steely Dan is always like a fun little footnote.
It is. Yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean,
I'm looking it up right now because I'm only know it off the. I only know like the liner notes, as it were.
I mean, the big thing, I guess, is that like Chevy Chase was almost in Steely Dan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Like he was in a band with them beforehand, and then just kind of left.
Yeah.
And so he could have had a career as a Steely Dan member instead of being an SNL actor. But, you know, he made his choice.
Yeah, Chevy Chase has made a lot of choices over the lifetime.
A lot of choices.
Yeah,
not all of them have been good.
Mm-hmm.
Would that have been something that would have been a little more guarded and protected had it been through Steely Dan, or would it have been just as controversial and just as out there?
Would Community have had to get a different person to play Pierce?
I mean, it would have been a different person. Who knows if Community would even exist?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's always like a fun little thing. I'm like, damn, they definitely went their own way.
Yeah, it's like what was it? Hulk Hogan that claimed he tried out for Metallica.
Was it Hulk Hogan? Jesus Christ!
I know Hulk Hogan claimed that he almost joined some band. Hold up.
I mean, knowing Hulk Hogan's racism, I could believe it was for a metal band.
Yeah, it was Metallica. He tried to join Metallica when what's his name died?
But wasn't he already a name at that
Cliff
point?
Burton. Yeah,
So that's
and
just
a lot of
him.
people think it's just just him telling a story.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never believe that he would just like shift completely to being Metallica. That does not make any sense to me. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like this is like a whole thing of this was like a album that was like in the works for a while, and then they didn't really release anything for a while after this. So this is kind of like a big moment in their career.
Yes, this was their penultimate album, I believe.
Let's see. No, there's two after this,
You're right. I'm looking now.
but the next one was 20 years later.
Yeah, Two Against Nature,
Mm-hmm. Which you know,
and then Everything Must Go.
I've heard that Two Against Nature is actually really really good. And I don't think I
have
would have
two.
expected that. Given like the amount of bands from like the 70s and 80s that tried to come back in like the 90s and 2000s. Like
Yeah,
if you told me that this era of Rush was good, I'd be like, "Really?"
it's not. I can tell you that it's not.
But like imagine if it
For
was.
Rush. I don't know. Steely Dan. Rush is a different comparison because Rush never stopped releasing albums.
Sure. But I mean, a lot of these bands are kind of swept up in the mythology of classic rock, capital C, capital R.
Yeah.
And a lot of those bands tend to go this like a similar route or a similar set of routes where, you know, they have their period of popularity and then they die down and they break up and they stop releasing music and then they try to come back, and it's kind of like a dad rock thing or like a why are you trying kind of thing. Like how many fucking videos are out there like look at Axl Rose trying to sing now. Look at fucking AC/DC trying to do their songs now.
You know,
They still got Ozzy Osbourne out there.
I saw a video recently of the Happy Mondays playing at the Enmore last year, and Sean Ryder just, I don't know, he somehow looks the same, but just looks like he's kind of just propped out there, to be honest. I don't know if it's the drugs, I don't know if it's just him. He looks out of it, it's insane, but he's still giving a performance.
It's like the same thing with there was a lot of videos of like Frankie Valli getting like propped out there recently.
Yeah, I was just about to mention the Frankie Valli thing.
Like the dude's like 90, like let him rest.
Yeah. Let him rest. Like Ozzy is still performing, and his brain has turned to mush from Parkinson's.
Yeah. I mean, to that effect though, Michael J. Fox is still out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but Michael J. Fox also did do so much cocaine in the 80s that they didn't know where the source of their cocaine was because it came in wax-sealed vials, and they thought it came from the government.
That I did not know that story.
Yeah, it was in his. I highly recommend everybody read Ozzy's autobiography. It is insane. There is a passage in the book where he talks about killing all the chickens in his coop with a shotgun, and it's like written in the first person perspective.
Huh.
Oh.
It is insane. Like, how is this man alive still?
Wasn't the story of the bat was that he thought it was like a fake bat as well?
Yeah, so he thought somebody threw up a rubber bat, so that's why he bit the head off of it.
Honestly, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Because why would somebody have a real bat?
Yes.
Exactly.
So I got distracted because I found the Shrek 5 plot.
Oh, let's interrupt this for the Shrek 5. Because I was Shrek. Oh.
You were Shrek in Shrek the Musical.
I was.
Steely Shrek.
Honestly, if we can get LGBT Shrek 5, then I think that's a win for the community.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's talking about how the girl ogre there in the trailer is trans because of the eye color.
Because they're comparing it to the babies in the previous movie or something?
Yeah, and the girl ogre daughter, who I forget the name of, had blue eyes in Shrek 4.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, yeah. I stand by this theory. Trans Shrek. That's what we've all wanted. We don't lie and say you didn't want this.
No.
Honestly, from the way the internet has embraced Shrek, it's the only proper way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, surely even the anti-LGBT will be like, yeah, trans Shrek sounds kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, considering
Yeah.
what the first movie was about, that also makes sense. I guess
It does.
I mean, they say the Matrix was a transgender allegory, which, you know, it was. The creators come out and said that.
Both creators.
Yep. Didn't realize those two. That's how little I know about the Matrix. But I subscribe to the theory that Shrek is a trans allegory.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's nothing you can do to prove me wrong on that.
you're choosing either the ogre self or the human self, and it's whatever works for you, whatever's prettier, whatever's your true real self.
Yeah.
And think about it. She was a princess, a human, at birth, assigned human at birth, and then is happier as the ogre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trans allegory.
Yeah. And
Now-
you can even take it a step further, and Shrek himself goes on testosterone replacement therapy in Shrek 2.
Testarossa therapy.
Yeah.
It's almost 5 a.m. Okay.
See, Shrek 2 confirms the whole kind of whole gender shit of the transgender and stuff, because it shows that Fiona is happier as the ogre, and it proves that it's all real because Shrek is also happier as the ogre.
Yes.
You know that Shrek 2 outright confirms that Larry what's his name? Larry King's character is actually trans.
I'm not surprised. That's the wolf being the grandmother, right?
No, it's the bearded the ugly stepsister, I think it is. The woman with like 5 o'clock shadow and a deep voice.
Sure.
And yeah, there's in the potion, the fairy godmother's potion factory. I recently rewatched the Shrek movies, if it's not clear. Has a like before and after poster of the effects for potions, and it has her on it.
I mean, hey, good for them.
And for those who say that Shrek is not music related, which obviously it's wrong, All Star, but you remember the ending to Shrek 2 on like VHS and DVD where they had the bonus scene, which was just American Idol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fucking thing. That's such a fever dream.
Back when the monoculture still kind of existed, and so American Idol's popular, we'll just do that for Shrek.
And there'd be a chance that fucking Simon Cowell wouldn't appreciate the answer that was given for who won American Idol and just go, the winner is me. And everyone just claps and accepts it. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, imagine people still did shit like that today. Like, everyone fucking takes a break in the next Sonic movie to fucking do a breakdown to Megalovania or something.
It was called Far, Far Away Idol. Okay, so without searching it up, okay, so apparently it's just a couple of it would just goes yeah, if you didn't pick like the main 4, they didn't have like a ending for it. And I'm gonna see if I can find who's done who. So don't search it up. And then I'll do a little guessing game, and we have to guess which characters did which song.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, Shrek has always been about gender norms and poking fun at things. Pinocchio wears panties, famously.
Song specifically.
Yes. And then, of course, the wolf dressing up in the grandmother's clothing is just a constant thing.
This just in. Has Shrek been making kids gay?
Better out than in, that's what I say.
And if we're talking about Shrek and like this sort of thing, we have to just mention Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
So, I've got I've got the list up in here. So I'm just gonna name. Obviously, there's like a lot of songs in this that you could pick from because I'm not picking the songs and stuff like that. So I guess it's just gonna be try and think what was popular enough to be done in this.
Sure.
So number one was Donkey was singing it, and I'm pretty sure like the dragons in the background.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
Do you
song?
remember what song?
Song.
Guess.
Sonny Bono and Cher, some sort of song like that.
Dominic, you got a guess?
Well, I'm a Believer was the first movie, I'm pretty sure. So the second one...
Well, don't worry about if it was like in the Shrek movies, just put that out in there. I don't think that was actually required. It was kind of just like classic rock songs or classic songs. So don't think of anything. Yeah, don't think of anything underground.
I'll just go with they just did I'm a Believer again.
It was Disco Inferno.
Yeah, okay, that checks out.
Yeah.
Pinocchio.
I don't want anybody else.
Done something gay.
That is true. That is 100% true.
That he did something gay?
Well, I think it's gay, but that's
okay.
Every time I think about you, I touch myself. Whatever that song is.
That's I touch myself out of the vinyls.
Yes.
Australian.
No, I know he's thinking of that tattoo song.
No, it's the Divinyls.
Okay. But something gay. I had something and now I lost it.
Don't think too gay. Don't
Village People. YMCA.
Mr. Roboto by Styx.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Doris, the ugly stepsister, which that's Larry King's character.
Yes. Old school crooner, I'm gonna guess.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Frank Sinatra.
What are you guessing, Dominic?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
So you should have expected this one, Trix, especially after bringing the thing. It's Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, you're right.
This one I actually could remember, and I hope you two can too. The Three Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf.
Fuck, I know this one.
I've seen Far, Far Away Idol at some point in my life. I remember none of this.
I have two. I don't think I watched it on my recent one.
To spoil it, but like not fully spoil it, this would be like the most obvious out of all of them.
Something about pigs. War Pigs? No, it wouldn't be War Pigs.
It wouldn't be Pink Floyd. That's too underground for that.
No, it's. I mean, something like Another Brick in the Wall or something maybe, but that's not on there. There's no Pink Floyd in this.
I'm trying to think of like big songs that like relate to the Big Bad Wolf.
I want to say it's like Three Dog Night or something like that for some reason. Or like
you
Doobie
want
Brothers.
us to do a random guess each?
War Pigs is the only thing that comes to mind, and I know it's not War Pigs.
A Doobie Brothers track.
You're both gonna hate yourself. It's Hungry Like the Wolf.
Fuck.
Is that Warren Zevon?
No, that's Duran Duran.
Duran Duran.
Okay.
Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London.
Yeah.
The Three Blind Mice.
I remember they did a dance routine.
Self-titled?
You think it's a song called Three Blind Mice?
Yes.
Trix?
Something with like 3-part harmony. I don't know.
Just do a random guess. This is a fun game. So far, you're on 0.
Yes. Deacon Blues by Steely Dan. I don't fucking know.
I can see clearly now.
Okay.
Okay.
Prince Charming.
Something Justin Timberlake.
I think a bit more classic than Justin Timberlake, but you are on the right.
Justin Timberlake was in 3, not 2.
Yeah.
Fuck, you're right.
You're on the right train of thought though.
Yes.
With the vibe.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Man. That's Justin Timberlake and NSYNC. No, that's
okay.
that is actually Britney Spears. I don't know. It's 5 in the morning.
Yeah. What's your guess, Trix?
My boy band knowledge is dried up.
You're on the right train of thought though. It's again, you're both gonna kill yourself if you don't get it like mentally. But
live on camera.
Especially Dominic.
I'm just trying to think of boy bands now, and I can't.
Try and think like a one-hit wonder one. I know I'm like giving you.
Mbop by Hanson.
You got far away. I'm too sexy.
That makes sense.
That does.
Gingerbread Man, or Gingy as it's put in here.
Memory from Cats.
I think it is actually. It's Memory from Cats.
You both go on Memory from Cats?
Yeah.
It's Sugar Sugar by the Archie.
Okay.
Fuck. I vaguely remember Memory from Cats in a Shrek movie, and I could be wrong.
There is 3 more, and then the Simon Cowell one. Captain Hook. Try to think punny.
Hook.
Hooked on a Feeling?
What are you guessing, Trix?
Hooked on a Feeling is good. Fuck. It's 5:08 a.m. and my brain is turning off. Let's go Hook by Blues Traveler.
Dominic gets the first point with Hooked on a Feeling.
Amazing.
Puss in Boots.
These boots are made for walking.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It was These Boots are made for walking.
Point for Trix.
Yeah, good point. I'll give the point to Trix because she was first. Yeah, so 1-0. This one I actually remember, and I'll explain exactly what I remember after it's announced. But it's Shrek and Fiona, which I want to point out that every single artist, or every single song, that's been put out here, it's like it's the actor has sung it. But here they're like Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, fuck off, neither of you can sing. And they both got credited singing voices instead.
Mike Myers can sing.
Apparently not, because neither of them are singing on this one.
That might just be a contract thing.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so Shrek and Fiona.
His Austin Powers soundtrack contributions are fantastic. Thank you.
Some love song.
I will either guess the Sonny and Cher song or You're the Inspiration.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sonny and Cher song.
So we'll say with Dominic, you've got the other one then.
Yeah, You're the Inspiration.
Yeah, it's What I Like About You by the Romantics, and I can remember this one clearly because
That's
Shrek
right.
has a harmonica solo in this as well.
Sure, that sounds right.
Yeah, that does
Alright.
sound right.
And last is the Simon Cowell track, which is singing voice by Rick Russo. So good on you, Simon Cowell. You don't have a singing voice, yet you were judging people.
Did he sing a song?
Yes, he did.
I
And
do
he
not remember
only
this
sing-
one at all. I remember
Yeah.
him winning, but I don't remember the song.
That's it. It plays at the end when he wins because all the songs play for the winner. But there's actually only 4 winners you could get. I think it was Donkey, Shrek and Fiona, Puss in Boots, and maybe it was just them. Maybe Gingy could win. I don't know. That's actually it says let's see who could win. If you select Pinocchio, Doris, Big Bad Wolf, Prince Charming, Free Blind Mice, Gingy, or Captain Hook, then you would get the Simon Cowell ending. If you had picked, in this case, it would be Donkey, Puss in Boots, or Shrek and Fiona. You would get that. So they actually only had 3 different endings. Kind of shit when you think about it. But yeah, there was a little bonus thing. So
for like
Anyway.
a DVD interactive thing, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So since this one's a tiebreaker, I will give a clue after each little guess, and we'll try and clear this up. So, Trix, say a random guess.
See here, pompous British ass.
That is Simon
something
Cowell, yes.
British. Something British.
See, if they
something
were
Led Zeppelin.
if they were funny,
They're
they'd do something by
American.
Morrissey, but I know it's not that.
We're running out of time, so I'm going to just say Dominic is a Morrissey and Trix is a Zeppelin.
Sure.
And both wrong. It's American and think more swing.
My swing knowledge is limited.
I don't know.
I'm throwing a guess just to get out there. I'm gonna guess another Steely Dan track, and that's Peg.
Unchained Melody is a song that he likes. I know that, so I would say that, but I know it's not that.
No, it's not Unchained Melody. Who did Unchained Melody again? That was think Blue Eyes.
Behind Blue Eyes?
No, think Blue
Brown
Eyes.
Eyed Girl.
What was Blue Eyes is Elvis, isn't it?
Nope.
Something Van Morrison maybe.
No, getting into a similar thing. Okay, think of, or if you could give a name of a band to the Three Blind Mice, what would you call them? Trying to give as much hints as I can into this.
Ritz, you gotta remember it's 5 and 4 a.m. here respectively. Our brains are dead.
Yeah, this just makes us funny.
The Three Blind Mice are the Three Blind Mice. I don't know what other name you can give it.
Think of a trio that has a very similar name that has existed in time.
Dissonant Waves?
I don't know why we're Three Blind Mice, Dominic, but thank you.
Oh, I'm almost blind, so
I really can't go any further without giving it. So I think the Rat Pack.
Oh, some Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Okay. Now guess a Frank Sinatra track until you get it.
Fly Me to the Moon.
My Way.
No, don't. There you go, Dominic. You win.
Fuck.
Yeah, Simon Cowell plays My Way by Frank Sinatra. That's how it fucking ends. That is a wild fucking thing. I know we've just like completely gone off the albums and gone to Shrek 2, but that is how every episode will go this year.
Yes.
In total, you guessed 3 out of 11 between you two. That is pretty poor. Send me out the class. I successfully distracted away from Steely Dan because that's how I feel about the album.
I like Steely Dan.
I like this just fine. I think this is nice. I mean, you know, it's not like the best album in the world. I think, you know, there's things you could talk about. I think like the lyricism and the singing on Gaucho is interesting and not typical, which is, you know, interesting in itself. But you know, there's stuff like Babylon Sisters and Time Out of Mind that sound normal and sound regular, and they're pretty cool too. But like the way Gaucho is sung is something that definitely like takes my attention whenever it's on.
I like Hey 19.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like that Donald Fagen can just tell a story.
I'm pissing everyone off and calling this a blender.
You're pissing everybody off.
I'm pissing.
I can see why he would though. Like
I can see it, but like this is Steely Dan.
I also got to point out, I've been distracted by looking at all the songs that have been in. Like this page that I'm on is every song that is in Shrek, not like one movie, like the whole fucking series.
What's the deepest cut?
It's not really like deep cuts, but like I mean, I also got just how much eels were on this fucking, just in every Shrek.
Yeah.
But I kind of forgot Joker and the Thief was in Shrek 3.
oh man.
And there's a Fergie cover of Barracuda.
Sure. That sounds.
I think this is why. Yeah, I think this is why no one fucking. I mean, Trix, to make you happy. Immigrant Song was in Shrek the Third, so there was some Led Zeppelin. I don't think there was any Pink Floyd throughout all of this.
No.
Shrek Forever After, the fourth one, had. Oh my god! It had a Weezer cover of "I'm a Believer." How have I forgotten this?
Oh my god.
That sounds exactly like someone they would do.
It's got all the stuff that's featured in specials and sort of Shrek the Musical. I'm fucking scared Shrekless. It's got tub thumping. It's got Unchained Melody.
In my defense for the Shrek music, I am more familiar with the Shrek the Musical soundtrack, which is different. It's different.
Is it like Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
I am unfamiliar with Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
The big Broadway Spider-Man musical?
I know of it, but I don't know the soundtrack.
In 2016, the Canadian tour of the musical changed the lyric in the song Story of My Life after a trans man who attended a performance at the Neptune Theatre objected to the presence of a transphobic slur in a line where the big bad wolf says that Knights called him a hot and tranny mess.
But in the musical for Shrek, I remember it opens with the song "Big Bright Beautiful World." There's just basically like, "The world's beautiful. I don't want it. Fuck off."
That sounds like Shrek.
Yeah.
And guess what it ends with?
It ends with "I'm a believer."
Yep. The encore version as well, and fucking that's what it says in the US to us. I'm a believer.
Yes.
Encore.
Yes, that's when everybody comes out and like bows.
That's dumb.
Hey, the monkeys got their
ends on a
bag.
kiss, and I remember that I felt so bad for the girl that we ended up having to like, because I bite an onion earlier in the show, like just a raw onion, and
Thanks, Tony Abbott.
we ended up just like the preacher held a sign in front of our faces.
Should we talk about Bleach?
Yeah, let's talk about Bleach.
We're stuck on Shrek.
I like Steely Dan.
This is
Listen
fine.
to Steely Dan is all
I like
I'm going
this.
to stay.
There are definitely worse classic rock albums we've listened to. They're
Yes.
the ones that are not nearly as approachable or nearly as able to get into.
It's
So I
better than
appreciate
Uriah
it.
Heep.
Yes.
You know, you can't win them all. You know, Nazareth is definitely down there as well.
Yeah. Sometime over the summer, I'll have to come out to Chicago. We'll have to fire up the grill, get a 12-pack of Modelo's or something, and just like vibe to some Steely Dan.
All right.
It is time for Nirvana. Trix, Dominic, name 3 songs.
About a girl.
Negative Creep,
Negative Creep, yes, and Mr. Cheese.
Blue, and About a Girl. Well, Love Buzz. I'll name 4.
So Dominic's a tryhard. Here's my favorite Nirvana song. It's okay to leave a dog in a hot car. That's an absolute cuss.
I thought that was a Beatles song.
No, they covered it. Silver. It's definitely titled Silver. Is a good one, and Smells Like Nirvana.
Okay.
Those are my favorite Nirvana songs. So now that we have all passed the name 3 songs test, we can finally talk about Nirvana.
Do you want
just
to
had
know
to make sure
my
the
actual
gatekeepers.
favorite Nirvana song?
Go ahead.
It is The Man Who Sold the World, which, yes, is a David Bowie cover.
Yeah, no, that's actually the best of the Unplugged album.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. I like Territorial Pissings.
I think the covers on the Unplugged one are like actually the best part of the Unplugged album, and the rest is just like okay.
I wanted to cover this one.
I will never skip Heart Shaped Box whenever it comes on a playlist or whatever.
Heart Shaped Box is like probably my favorite Nirvana song, to be honest.
Penny Royal Tea is also great.
I wanted to choose this one. I wanted to cover Bleach for years now. I thought it'd be a fun way to start a year off. But mostly because...
I'd rather cover Bleach than fucking Nevermind, because everybody in the Grandmaster covered Nevermind.
Well, that too is like, people don't talk about Bleach as much as the other stuff.
No.
So it's like, this is obviously, I think, the one to talk about and like at least get familiar with, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff on here.
Yes.
I will tell you quite safely, there is one label out there that never stops talking about Bleach, and that is Sub Pop.
Of course.
I mean, Sub Pop can suck my nuts.
I have bought a couple records from Sub Pop.
They always go, "Hey, we were the label that had Nirvana on them during the years that no one talks about."
And then ask Kurt Cobain about it in the interviews that he had. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think this, like, yes, this album is actually very important sonically, but I think the focus on grunge as like a genre and like a name and like a thing to kind of like attach everything to is so overblown. This is more or less a metal album with like some lighter songs interspersed.
It is.
I mean, when you recognize what the foundation of Nirvana was, and it's just a bunch of artists that have come together from hardcore or metal band, it makes sense.
It does.
Like this is definitely a band that like came out of the same like kind of inspiration of like Metallica as much as they were the inspirations of like the Melvins.
Yes. And it's interesting you bring up the Melvins because King Buzzo was actually good friends with Kurt.
Yeah.
To the point where Kurt played guitar on the first the Melvins album.
I know. That's why I mentioned the Melvins.
Yeah. And we've covered the Melvins.
No, we have not.
Oh, I thought we did. I need to cover the Melvins. I love the Melvins.
I remember bringing up the Melvins in like 2019, and like Ritz had a story about the Melvins. Of, like, I think Ash didn't like them or something.
No, I'm not big into the Melvins in the sense of I've never really listened to them that much. So it wouldn't have been me and Ash. But I think the story was I had a friend who went to see I think he went to see Mr. Bungle, who was opening to them, and then left before the Melvins, or like that's like the only story I can think of.
You didn't have like a girlfriend that like talked about the Melvins a lot or something like that?
No.
Oh,
my dating history is right there. She's definitely not into the Melvins.
Mm-hmm.
Trix, that wasn't you then?
No, I'm the only one I've known who's really liked the Melvins.
I could have sworn one of you had a story about like a girlfriend or something who was really into the Melvins or talked about the Melvins a lot, and you just were annoyed by it.
You know what, Dominic? I'm gonna save some face. Let's lie on podcast here. Yeah, so I about 15 years ago, I had a girlfriend who was into the Melvins quite a lot. She wouldn't stop going Melvins. It made sex really uncomfortable. So eventually, I said, "Hey, why are you so into the Melvins?" And she just goes, "How could you not be into the Melvins? They're an incredibly experimental and creative band." My partner is walking up and is very pissed at this fake story so far. But trust me, there's the point to the story. So anyway, afterwards, I decided I'll sit down with her. I'll give the Melvins a full listen with her, and I couldn't get into it, but she just gave me this full look, and she could tell that I really wasn't into it, and it led to this huge argument. Actually, it was kind of upsetting, and kind of led to the downfall of the relationship. That and I was cheating on my sister, but regardless on this, yeah, we had this huge fight, and it ended up with the Melvins final getting smashed over my head.
And that's what led you to sports ball.
Yeah, that's what led me to sports ball. Exactly.
The Melvins inspired sports ball.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a desk that was smashed. It was a vinyl, but you had to use some creative liberties.
In 2018, I had a vinyl.
Anyway, I said this was 15 years ago when I was 12. So if anybody wants to put up any concerns in that story, that is valid.
You were 12 15 years ago? I think you were like 10. Damn.
Yeah.
No, I was 11.
I was 15.
But I'm assuming that's the story you wanted there, Dominic.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a reason why I never touched the Melvins, because I could have sworn that someone was like not as into the Melvins. But okay, that's fine.
Nah, I'm genuinely, I've just never really touched them because it's just never really good.
That's fair.
They loved Kiss.
They loved Kiss or To Kiss?
The Melvins loved the band Kiss.
Well, Origami Angel likes bare naked ladies. Doesn't mean it always translates.
Bare Naked Ladies is good.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
But like they loved the Melvins loved Kiss so much that on their biggest album they covered a deep cut Kiss track, "Going Blind."
Is that like Going Bald?
That is actually the song that inspired "Going Bald" by Rush.
Not much of a deep cut, is it?
Well, it's a bit deeper, because "Going Bald" is a deep cut already.
Fair enough.
Nobody really talks about going bald.
Except you brought it up a couple times.
Yeah, and I mean well, I'm a fucking nerd. You got to remember that.
Yes, and this is the podcast for that.
Yeah, and I mean, they've the shocking thing about the cover of the Melvins cover of "Going Blind" is that it is more popular than the original Kiss song.
I believe it.
But "Going Blind" is one of the better Kiss songs too. I will say that.
Going back to Nirvana, though, I think Kurt Cobain is one of the most prominent figures that's like, wait, you're telling me that this guy has a voice like that.
Yeah.
He's like,
You're telling me Kurt made this Cobain?
Yeah, like I always forget how fucking gnarly and twisted his voice can get.
Oh yeah.
Like he very much inspired Nickelback to an insane degree.
Oh
well,
that's one of the great horrors.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but you weren't supposed to say it.
Yeah.
If he had been alive, there would be a Nickelback collaboration.
Yeah,
you really weren't supposed to. You really weren't supposed to say that.
You guys know that Dimebag Darrell had a guest solo on a Nickelback track posthumously.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Side of a Bullet.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about that, actually. I forgot all about that.
But, yeah.
I always like imagining what Kurt Cobain would have done had he gone on. I think it would be a very interesting career.
Yes. The older I've gotten, the more I appreciate Kurt as an artist.
I very much dislike the fucking cult of celebrity that people get obsessed with him about.
Yes.
Like I do not want to be that person. I think it's more just like, yeah, I think he would have done a lot more interesting things. Like he would have let, like Nirvana would have broken up, or he would have left eventually, and he just do a lot of like weird shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think this album is a really good indicator of like, you know, like, fuck it, like, Kurt Cobain would have pioneered a lot of emo shit. I bet.
Yeah,
that's a good chance. Yeah.
Like if grunge had like gone a different way, it very much could have just been like, this is just emo. Like what is Negative Creep if not like a hardcore, like a harder core emo song?
Yeah, I mean, this is in a sense just a very solid debut. It definitely, when it comes to the albums you talk about in Nirvana's discography, when you talk about the quality and the I guess the creativity, yeah, it's beaten by In Utero and never, and will forever remain that way. But it's the rawness on this album, which is why people were buzzing about him at this time.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
It was a true, like, Nirvana were a true word of mouth band when Bleach was out. If you look at all the documentation about it, obviously I wasn't alive during it. Yes, it would have had some promotion. But going by everything that's said around it, I'm still give you 2 seconds to Trix and over.
You're good.
It seems like this is one that they didn't have that heavy promotion like they did with Nirvana, but yet they still had the people going around and say, "Oh, you got to listen to this."
Yes.
Sorry, on to you, Trix.
So this is a bit of an aside, but since we talked about like the beginnings of Steely Dan, do you guys know about the mythos of the lost Ren and Stimpy intro song that Kurt Cobain did?
No.
There's a rumor that Kurt Cobain walked in before Bleach was recorded and like dropped the tape off and was like, I want to, this is like my pitch for the intro song for Ren and Stimpy.
Wait, you saying before Bleach?
If something like if I'm remembering, it was like some cartoon. Might not have been Ren and Stimpy, but it was like some out there wacky 90s cartoon.
Yeah, because Ren and Stimpy was 91. Oh, okay, here. Hold on. I'm looking at it. Not that I really want to give Kirk Falusi my full attention or anything, but
yeah, the stories of Ren and Stimpy get wild.
Production of the pilot began in '89, so that could line up.
Hold up, I'm looking it up. I think it might have been debunked, but I could be wrong. I'm looking it up. I could have also just dreamt this up.
We are a non-misinformation spreading.
I mean, given that
a little bit of misinformation.
Given that Devo did the Rugrats theme, it's not that like far-fetched.
No.
Or at least Mark Mothersbaugh did the Rugrats theme.
Yeah. Banner Astroman did Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, so like Kurt Cobain potentially being involved in like a different one is not that unheard of. I don't think. But I don't believe this story.
Things. I saw the best band of all time, Bowling for Soup, did a Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, it was Ren and Stimpy, and it was an old interview with someone who works at Spumco studio that made Ren and Stimpy. Recalled a story when Kurt went to the studio and asked to make a song for Ren and Stimpy, and the people at the office declined, not knowing it was Kurt. Billy West was the guy. It was the voice actor. He was the one who was like sharing that story. Now I remember.
Interesting. Okay. That's very much the energy of like Michael Jackson just approaches Sega to get involved in a Sega game, except it actually worked usually.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I am sorry to inform all Australians. I have just received some bad news. Ronnie Radke has landed in Australia.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna go message him and see if I can get a punch on organized. I know it won't happen because Ronnie Radke's a little bitch who cowards out of anything. He could probably beat me. I don't give a fuck.
Has he ever made a joke about singing in the key of Rad?
I don't think he's made a joke that's been funny, so probably not.
Because that's the only key he can sing in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways.
I like Bleach.
Bleach is good.
I like this album quite a bit. I think it is interesting that it's the first one, and that Nevermind took off so quickly after this.
Funnily enough, I would call Bleach in some sense a bit of a blender. I don't think it is in the same way of Steely Dan, but sonically it doesn't do that much different from this song. Now they do have enough riffs that stand out, which give those songs those difference. Don't get me wrong. The cover of Love Buzz definitely sticks out. I wouldn't say like a sore thumb or anything like that because it's quite a good song, but it definitely feels like an outlier when you're listening to this album.
I mean, About a Girl is softer for sure.
Yeah, and About a Girl as well. Yeah, obviously, I kind of forget that that's on here all the time because that's like the one song to break through from this album, really.
Which is a shame. Because like I feel like that's the song that gets played a lot more in like the live shows and stuff. It's like I would love to see Blue get its flowers more.
Or Negative Creep.
Yeah.
When I say breakout as well, it's kind of like, well, I mean, even the smallest played song or the lowest played song of this has a lot more listens than a lot of bands' popular song does.
Yeah.
That just speaks to how popular Nirvana is.
Yeah.
Like, they have not been a band for
about as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, like 30 years, I would say at this point. Probably a bit longer. And on Spotify, they're number 126 in the world.
Because people just fucking follow whatever is popular.
Yeah.
Oh, Nirvana's popular. I'll listen to Nirvana. Oh, I like Nirvana songs. Great.
I remember seeing so many Nirvana shirts in high school, even when I went to high school in the late 2010s.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's why there is the whole gatekeeping me of Nirvana, name 3 of their songs kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nirvana became, in a sense, a brand.
Yeah.
Now, I can't speak for all of the members, and I won't. To say what they wanted or anything like that, but I can tell you safely the label definitely wanted. There would be people out there absolutely who would just wear the Nirvana shirts, probably have only listened to a couple songs, which I have enough band T-shirts where if you tell me to tell the lyrics of like any of the songs, I probably only can give you like one at best. So I actually genuinely don't give a fuck that these people are wearing a cool looking shirt, even if they do or do not know the songs. Do whatever you fucking want.
I'm wearing a Pink Floyd shirt right now.
I don't care if people wearing the shirt. I've never been bothered by the shirt. I just think that there's a swath of people that just they essentially Google what is popular and just subscribe to that.
I fully agree, and I think that's why you get a bunch of. I mean, it's why you get this kind of whole gatekeeping internet because it's like, oh, do you really like Nirvana or do you like it because you think you like it, or was it like the baby's first grunge band or anything like that, or blah 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 blah.
Joy Division is my favorite T-shirt brand.
Now, whether or not those reasons are true or not, that gives a fuck. You got to discover music some way. Like, if Nirvana is Baby's first heavy band, then it's Baby's first heavy band. Whatever.
Yeah.
I can't say in my period, I went straight from an underground band, and then only I decided I can listen to Nirvana then. I would have discovered Nirvana, one of the first heavier acts I would have listened to in life, and that's how I found what my taste was. That's how music works. That being said, there are definitely people who think better of themselves because they listen to Nirvana and somehow nobody else does. It's like, come on, this is an incredibly fucking popular band and still will be, even though they have been dead for 30 years.
Yeah, and you can like Nirvana. That's totally fine. But like, if you're telling me that your favorite bands are Nirvana, Queen, and Green Day, like, sure. But like, have you ever listened to the Foo Fighters? Even have you listened to the Melvins at all?
I love Dave Grohl's Adultery. I had no idea his music sounded like that. I'm unfollowing now.
Have you listened to Pinhead Gunpowder at all? That's just the questions I have, because
I mean, this is what we're doing. I guess this our discussion in episode 1. I think it's a very valid thing. I mean, it's a very strong thing, especially to kind of talk about with the Australian music scene as it is at the moment. We over the past couple of months, we had our hottest 100, and it had the lowest amount of Australian songs in it since like 1995 or something like that. It was an incredibly low amount. And the kind of whole reason that was I guess this is the point of discussion, is everybody's looking for who to blame. People go like, people we should blame Triple J. They're not promoting Australian music. That's bullshit. They are. You go to Triple J on Earth, they're still doing a lot. You take a look at the most played acts in Triple J. Some of them didn't even make it into 200. Yes, there is a bit of a bias in the sound that they pick, and there are some artists I think they should be championing a lot more, especially ones that are proving to get a bit of a crowd going for them. Stuff like Shady Nasty is fully picking up in Sydney shows. They sell basically all of them out. Even, they're small or anything like that, but the fan base they have is dedicated. Bands like Tryon and Adelaide are bringing the fucking slowcore to a bit more of an accessible and yet still quite powerful sound that you'd think, okay, yes, let's get onto them. And, to their credit, they did win an unearthed a spot for Laneway and stuff like that, but these are little examples. But I think a big point going into all this that comes from it is the modern day refusal, and let's not say it's only a modern day thing, but I feel like it's felt worse these days when it's easier to discover new music for people to go out and find new bands. I've gone to enough concerts, especially this year alone, where I could safely say the opener had fucking no one there. People showed up for the main act, or sometimes people did show up for the opener but just talked over them and just didn't give a fuck. Didn't come there to listen to them at all or anything like that. And that used to be kind of a way of people discovering new music, and that's how I discover new music, is by seeing them live.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's not the only way that you have to do it. But I feel like if you go to people, and I remember having this conversation with someone who said that you can be passionate about music but not go out of your way to find new music, and I fully disagree. I think if you are passionate about music, you go out of your way to find new music. Someone who's passionate about video games goes out of their way to find indie games and shit like that to play.
Yeah.
Streamers do it for a living and stuff like that. Reviewers have to do it for a living. Like, if you're passionate about music, you have to go out of your way. But you can still like music and still be a casual, but you can't say you're passionate about it then just never try and find music.
You can say you're more passionate about Nirvana specifically, if that's your jam.
Yeah, you can say that, and then that would be true. Now, I think that's a bit of a waste of time, because even Nirvana, if Kurt Cobain was alive, he spent quite a lot of his time finding new music.
Yeah,
that's a big reason why some artists like Daniel Johnston got a fucking big break, and the Shags, these big outsiders artists, because Kurt Cobain said, these are some of the greatest albums I've ever listened to, and they were from absolute nobody.
Yeah.
I think, I would rather people be honest, because I remember years ago, I worked with this dude who was like, I don't really listen to music. I don't really care that much. and like we pressed him like come up with like one song that he liked. And this was like 2013, 2014. So he said, "Oh, I like Same Love, I guess." I'm like, you know what? That was on the radio, so sure. Macklemore's Same Love. That I can respect that when you're just like, you know what? I don't really care. I heard this on the radio. I thought that was good. That I can respect that take. And I think that's a more honest take than just like subscribing to the biggest bands because they're the biggest bands. Like it's that fallacy of like, well, they're big, so they must be popular and good.
Well,
Call of Duty must be great.
That's the thing that I noticed as well, is the whole big thing of the Triple J core fan base. And it's not to blame on Triple J, it's just the whole... This is, in a sense, and you can't really ever talk about this without getting gatekeeping, so we'll just get gatekeeping. We'll get as gatekeeping. I
mean, if this just seems gatekeeping, that's fine, but I'm not trying to say don't like things. I'm just saying be honest about it.
I'm saying what I'm about to say is about to get gatekeeping.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And... Yeah, for a lot of Triple J acts that you see out there, it is a baby's first underground. I don't know. It's a very ironic thing for to say, and this blah blah blah. And go ahead, just enjoy what you enjoy. If you want it to be a bit more spoon-fed of how you find it, that's fine. Actually, it's at least finding. But some of these artists aren't that underground. They do have a bit of a big following in this country. Compared to everywhere else in the world, yes, they're very small. When they play US, they hardly even have the money to fucking play it. But in Australia, they can usually quite consistently sell out some reasonable sized venues and make a living off it and blah, 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 blah. Like that. And yeah, because of it, you get a lot of people who I've seen in the crowd personally act very kind of self-important about who they are because they know of these bands, not even know them personally. They haven't been following along since the first single or anything like that. They've been following along for like the past couple of months, and then they decided to join them on tour. Which again, go ahead and do. There's absolutely no fucking problem with that. But when you see this kind of self-importance and stuff like that, you do start to think like, are you actually here because you like the band, or are you here because you want people to think that you're cool? It's a double-edged sword because you want people at shows.
It's like the people that go to a music festival to be seen instead of to see the music.
That was a big thing at fucking New Bloom Fest yesterday, which I'm if anybody can find, there was two people I want to find. One person that I want to go and praise because they were the MVP of the mosh because they were trying to beat up people who were doing the other shit. There was this great fucking moment where I thought it was kind of funny. Someone had found a wet floor cone and put it in the middle of the mosh, and everybody was two-stepping near it. So it kind of looked like, oh, here's the joke. Everybody's slipping because it's a wet floor. Yeah, I think that's funny. And then some douchebag grabs the cone and then throws it up in the air. And this is a large cone, a large, heavy plastic cone. Gets it up and throws it up in the air. And guess what it does in a packed mosh? It hits someone in the head.
Yeah.
It's not on. I don't think throwing cans and shit is on. I think that's just dick behavior.
Yeah.
Crowd killing even is dick behavior.
Yeah, and absolutely is. I joke about crowd killing, but if you're actually crowd killed, get the fuck out. You're not there for a good time. You're there to be a dick.
Stop trying to fight the dad you wish you had.
Yeah, there was this one dude who I absolutely praised who was wearing a Pain of Truth shirt, and you were the MVP of the mosh. I remember some dude tried to be a dick and stole your hat for no absolute reason other than he just thought it was funny. So you grabbed him by the shirt and you told him that was not okay in the most confrontational way it was possible. And he absolutely did not fuck with anybody else the rest of the night. So that was a big one. And then you saw that dude throw the cone, and you also confronted him and told him that damn right to never do that again in a very threatening tone, which is exactly how you confront that. You make sure you cut that off with that quickly, and it's an MVP. And when someone got knocked out because dickheads didn't realize the space that we're in, swinging, two-stepping, not all dancing is fine when you have the space to do it. That is the full rule. Every hardcore show will tell you, be careful of your surroundings. That is just the main rule. You can do anything you want if it's not hurting someone. But for a lot of people, this probably would have been one of their first ever hardcore shows. They would have seen the dancing of TikTok and shit. Because that is just how this has become more popular. and how we can get these bigger hardcore shows. It's the TikTok effect. It's a double-edged sword. People have seen all these dancing and stuff like that and think, that's really cool, I want to do that. But they haven't really kind of respected the whole kind of history of this. And I've not really wanted much to talk, because I've only been going to these for like really the past couple of years, but I feel like even I've just like understood what's the whole reasoning and like the whole expressing yourself dancing, not the popular dancing. But yeah, anyway, someone did a sweep kick and knocked someone up in the head, and they went ice cold, which stopped the show. That dude that I was talking about that I was praising, he was like the first one on there to make sure everything was okay and everything was cleared. So that dude, MVP of the Absolute Mosh. The weirdest moment after that is that the first song that the house music played after someone got knocked out ice cold was Armlock's Ice Cold.
Huh.
So I thought that was a little ironic, but yeah. I mean, that is a current state of what live music is. So I feel like there's a lot of people who are there to just be cool instead of having fun. And unfortunately, when it comes to shows like this, that comes to the detriment of potentially people's lives. Yeah, getting kicked in the head and getting ice cold, that's not good.
No.
Full credit to like both shows that I've seen it this week happening, for the paramedics getting there like instantly. But I've talked with friends who have been around for longer in this scene and stuff like that, and they've talked about how they basically rarely saw people get knocked out back in the day, and they're seeing it more often because we're getting behavior like this.
I mean, I feel like there's got to be generational shifts every now and then. New people come in.
Well,
other people don't go as much anymore.
Your Arms and my Cocoon put out a statement the other week, which was talking about stuff that to me feels like you shouldn't have even had to make a statement about this. But one of the classic ones was like, if you don't know us or you're not a part of the band, get off the stage.
Yeah.
Like if you're there to do a stage dive, go ahead, just quickly get up and get off. But Tyler's basically saying, why is there 25 people we do not know just hanging out on the stage?
And then that's exactly the question to ask. It's like, what the fuck are you doing up here? Like, this isn't your fucking band.
And there is a lot of other points that Tyler makes in that statement as well, which it feels crazy. But like the first part is like, if someone stage dives, catch them. If you can't be prepared to catch people, don't be near the front. Which I agree with. The only time that I've been in that situation, I didn't catch the person because it was generally such a small crowd. I did not expect the person to be stage diving. His friend caught him anyway, so he was fine. But straight up, like, yeah, stage divings are happening and you're not someone who can catch it or anything like that. Don't be near the front. Now, I've been in positions where I've been at the front and then the crowd's gotten rowdy and they started doing the stage diving and stuff and it's happened on top of me. And my reaction hasn't been, everybody stop, this is uncomfortable for me. My reaction has been, yeah, I'm just going to go walk to the side because I'm not prepped to catch all of this and everyone's doing that. So the actual safest way of doing this is to move out of the way and let somebody who can catch you get to the front. You've heard stories of people who get injured because no one's catching them. Yes. Everyone else is doing the stage dive, but they're only catching their friends or anything like that. And again, I talk about it being a hypocrite in this, but this is a genuine. This one case is literally the one person did it in a very small crowd.
I also think there's just a trend of people, like I've seen it at your Arms My Cocoon shows, where they just fucking get up and go. Like, they're not even making sure people are fucking looking at them.
Yeah.
Like, it's catching it if you can, but like you can't expect someone to be ready in like a second.
No.
Like, if you're gonna jump, fucking make sure people see you and are ready. It's gonna be like 5 seconds either way, yes, but if you fucking get dropped because no one's ready to fucking catch you, then like you're not fucking stage diving right.
Yeah, and remember, a big thing is that when injuries happen, that affects the artist.
Yes.
It does.
It negatively affects their reputation, negatively affects the venue.
Not everyone is a Travis Scott that can just walk away from it. And Travis Scott was one that basically encouraged the whole crowd crush.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that level of popularity. In hardcore, no one's anywhere close.
And I will say, too, like, I think, there are also times where I'm not even at the front of the crowd. But like, people will fucking just send people back. And it's to a point where it's like, I don't really want to do this right now, but I guess I have to because A, I'm tall and big, and B, I need to make sure they fucking stay up, or otherwise I don't want them to fucking drop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a responsibility.
It is the state of the heavy scene at the moment, and I feel like, you know, for you, Dominic, being a heavier person, you probably are seen more as one of a protector.
Yeah, like fucking. I have so many times people have like knocked into me, and I've had to like be the fucking person to like withstand shit just so the person next to me doesn't get fucking barreled down.
DJ Wise posted a Instagram reel before where he literally looked away for half a second at a Tsunami show and almost got his head kicked in by a stage diver.
Yeah,
and he wasn't blaming the person or anything like that as well. But you know, he is someone. He is a bigger gentleman. He will be at the front of all these hardcore shows, and usually more protecting in these smaller stages. That's just usually how this kind of works. It's not just him. It's not just you. It's a lot of people who are usually a bit more experienced, usually at the front end. Yeah, to the credit, everybody's going to have the first hardcore show if they want to be in the scene.
Yeah.
And I'm not a heavy mosher, so I can't really tell you what the safe way of moshing and everything is. But I can tell when people were starting to just like hit strangers because they think that's funny or cool, that's where it's getting too far.
Yeah, I remember it. I think the Your Show wasn't when I saw Afraid of Crushes. Like when people are desperately trying to get the pit going, and there's like the same 3 people flailing around hitting people, just stop.
Yeah,
it's not the crowd.
That's it. Like people want to know what is the main way a crowd crush gets stopped? As long as everybody is in the same flow as each other, it will be fine.
Like, don't just do things to do things. Like, there's a certain energy and a certain, like, I don't know, an atmosphere in which some of these things can happen, and it's organic. But to just, like, try and make it happen because you just want it, because you think it's going to be cool, that's not exactly how it works.
And it goes against the spirit of what hardcore was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
It's not a case of do this to be cool. We do this because it's a way to express yourself.
Like, I made some of those mistakes years and years ago, like, trying to, get, people more moshing again, because I was more into that when I was, like, a teenager, and, like, I learned from that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's been 2 hours of recording here, and a bunch of... we have probably talked about the albums very little, but this is the catch-up and talking about the state of the world. So favorites of this, I like the opener Blue. I like About a Girl, obviously. I like Love Buzz. I like Creep. Least favorite, it's going to be something towards Big G's or 15.
Yeah, I like Negative Creep and Blue the best. My least favorite is probably something toward the end, like Scoff or Swap Meet.
Let's see here. Favorite for me, Negative Creep. Least favorite, honestly, just because I've heard it the most, About a Girl.
Fair.
I also didn't fuck with School that much.
I don't think he did either, to be fair.
Alright, well, rankings this week. I'll go first because it'll probably be no surprise. Steely Dan, number 3. Number 2, Nirvana's Bleach. Number 1's High Violet by The National. Shocker, the album I picked that I liked. Still like.
Fair enough.
Trix, what do you think?
Favorites from... let's go... The National... and I'm gonna do Nirvana, Steely Dan. Steely Dan number 1.
See, this is hard for me actually because I didn't have to come around to Bleach. I liked Bleach from the get-go, but I kind of got to a point where I kind of like these to a similar degree. So if I don't want to say they're all fucking tie because that's a cheap way to go. But if I really thought about it, I guess I will marginally put Steely Dan at the bottom, and then oh man. If I really think about the quality of each songs and think about how the albums flow, Nirvana's second, High Violet's number 1.
Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
We're gonna pick what we're doing next week. And I got 3 choices in mind, but I'm not going to pick all 3. We're gonna ease into this year. We're gonna do one at a time. Let's not make the mistakes we've made before.
Sebastius.
Fuck you.
Oh, I have a pick that will eclipse Sabazius.
Oh no.
So I've got three choices here. We got a bit more of a hip hoppy punk. We've got a math rock, and we've got a slowcore. Which one do you want?
I'm feeling the hip hop.
You know what? Hip hop. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's more hip hop influence, more punky and stuff like that. But that's fine. I mentioned it before. We're doing Shady Nasty's Trek. It's a debut that they released a couple of weeks ago. It's actually a pretty short one. So not too bad. It's only a 21-minute one. But I'm not going to add anything else onto it. So.
All right, I'll go next. I announced this at the same time we talked about this episode we just finished. I want y'all to play a video game. I want y'all to play Rez. Talking about Sega games and Sega soundtracks, this is, I think, one of the best examples. And it's a short game. Whether we're playing Rez HD, Rez Infinite, the whole experience of the game is a unique, interesting thing. Very synesthetic, very visual, but also very audio focused. There is a soundtrack as well. I'll just link to the Rez Infinite soundtrack because that's like the one that's like on streaming services, and it's also like got the 10 original tracks of the original soundtrack, and then a bunch of tracks from like the Area X stuff that got added to Infinite.
All right. I would like to mention that Rez on the PS2 had an optional vibrator attachment.
Yes.
And I will be recreating that.
How will you be recreating that?
Just the other day, I bought a butt plug that will vibrate to music.
Yes. Excellent.
And so I'm going to jam that up there while I play Rez Infinite.
You know, and Rez is known for having the weird things like that. Like there's like a suit you can wear to play Infinite because it's a VR mode as well, and you can kind of like feel your whole body get in tune with the VR if you really want to. I don't have that, but I did take pictures of me wearing the VR shit. So
hell yeah. And then because I'm gonna pick next because I'm the only one who has to pick left. I also announced a while back that I'd be doing a video game, and to get my money's worth, we're gonna talk about the Banana Maniac and original versions of the Super Monkey Ball soundtracks, and I want you guys to play Monkey Ball.
Can you link to the soundtracks, please?
Yes.
I'm still distracted by the vibrator and Rez.
Were you not expecting this?
I'm looking at it, and it's just I don't know how I never knew the story. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
I mean,
it comes in a protective pouch. It's funny.
It does. And I know
also say with my pick, I'm gonna kind of cheat, and I'm gonna say you don't have to do a super in-depth listen of this. Do it like how I did for Schoolhouse Rock. Just kind of familiarize yourself.
I will say for me, playing the game is the important part. The soundtrack is there, and it's worth listening to, I think. But I also think, I think compared to the game itself, the soundtrack is negatively compared. It's lacking. It's about how these tracks happen and how they evolve, and the static way in which they are on the soundtrack is not as cool.
I do also want to make mention that it's the opposite for me, and I also want to talk about the difference between the tracks. So, listen to a couple that are the same track, because for some reason, when they remade this album, they went dubstep with it.
Excellent.
I just thought I'd have a week without having to spend money after having no gigs this week, and you two are like, "Hey, buy these video games."
I gave you plenty of warning.
You don't have to buy either of them. You can emulate them both.
I know. We condone stealing on the server.
You could have bought these back in January when we talked about it.
Yeah,
I could have, but I didn't. What's your next move there, Dominic?
I bought my butt plug on a Women's Day sale. Thank you, women.
That's valid.
You know, as long as you have fun and you give the game a shot, because I mean, Rez is going to be easy to beat in a day if you give it time.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not buying Rez. I'm buying a vibrator with it.
You don't have to do the vibrator. I'm doing the vibrator.
Okay, but you can't just say "Oh, we're playing Rez. It has a vibrator attachment, and I'm just gonna go "Oh."
I mean,
I don't have to put the vibrator in my pants, but I need the vibrator.
I mean, here's the thing, though. the Dreamcast and PS2 versions were released in Europe and Japan. I think you're statistically the most likely person of all of us to get a real vibrator controller.
Yeah.
I need to get hooked that up to the PS2. The PS2 is at my parents' house.
Hey, Mom, can I borrow the PS2 to use my vibrator?
No.
Only if I can have it when you're done, dear.
You know what? I know for the 360 version, I think they tried to make it so that if you synced up a bunch of 360 controllers, they would all vibrate.
I remember that.
But yeah, so that means... Ritz, you chose fucking what is this? Sorry. Trek by Shady Nasty.
Yep.
And Trix and I chose Sega video games. Me choosing Res, whatever version of Res you want. Probably Res Infinite's the easiest one to do. And then Trix, you did Super Monkey Ball, the soundtrack for the original / the deluxe version, and then the Banana Mania.
The deluxe is just 1 and 2 combined.
It's like the PS2 version. So
yeah, it is.
The GameCube original is the original. Like, there's also the arcade Japan version, but that, you know.
Yes, the banana joystick monkey ball arcade cabinet is like a bucket list item for me.
See, I just,
as well as the trackball one. I want both.
I feel like we got robbed that there wasn't even like a hint of a Dreamcast version for Monkey Ball.
Yeah,
because keep in mind, Monkey Ball came out first.
Yes.
And no one ever talked about a Dreamcast. It was always a GameCube and then a PS2 thing.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Res came out fucking February of... No, it was November in 2001, and then February in Europe. Okay, yeah. But still. The Dreamcast was still a thing, god damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll do it for us. Welcome back, everybody. Have a wonderful time, night, whatever. Happy 6 a.m. Trix.
Yeah, we're not even plugging our shit.
Oh, yeah, plug our shit.
Yeah, we got nothing to plug anywhere. I've just been riddling. You can just catch me on Instagram or something at this point. I guess I have a Bandcamp. I don't know. It'll be in the description below.
I have been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at Procrastinaut. Please send me stuff on Twitter. I'm trying to retrain my algorithm because since Elon took over, it's become 50% tits at this point, and I just want to watch like cool skateboarding videos.
I've been Dominic. I do have an Instagram. I'm still considering deleting my Twitter. I don't really want to talk about that, but we're on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky and stuff. Dissonant Waves. Check us out.
Blue Sky accounts too. Blue Sky sucks. My handle is also Procrastinaut. No underscore though. I got there early enough.
We just gotta make this the year of making Blue Sky a thing.
We do.
Yeah, I suppose we want to get rid of Twitter, but it's like if we're gonna tag artists and stuff like that, we're gonna have to wait for it to push over. That being said, would you rather talk to people over Instagram and Blue Sky?
I actually have an Instagram too, but I'm not going to give it to you.
Yeah, we don't have an Instagram for Dissonant Waves. I just post everything on my personal account.
Yes.
I guess you can also find us on our Love Honey accounts as well, assuming as we're all buying vibrators this year.
You can you can follow me on Poop Maps.
This is Trix's Fat Life.
I also have a Letterboxd now. I reviewed exactly one movie on it.
So for everybody who might have gotten excited by the fact that Trix said that Twitter is 50% tits, that doesn't mean that they're legal.
Yeah,
but they're also probably AI half the time as well.
Yeah, and I also want to browse Twitter at work, and I just want to watch school skateboarding tricks and people smoking weed.
Isn't that what Kick is for?
I don't care for live streams.
I'll go on Twitter right now. What's the first thing that shows up? It just even loads. Something went wrong. Try reloading. There you go. That's where Twitter is at the moment.
I think Twitter is down right now, but I just opened up Twitter, and the first tweet is POV. You're about to lose your virginity to your best friend's mom on a family ski trip. It's a woman in a bikini holding a glass of something with ice in it.
Well,
no, thank you.
Well, enjoy Res and Super Monkey Ball, everybody.
I will take detailed notes on the butt plug. Don't worry.
This will be the week of Sega music and the exploration therein.
We're gonna we're gonna listen to a shitload of Sega, and I'm fucking hype as fuck.
Hell yeah. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.